Hi, everyone. This is the October Idea Share from Key Ministry. My name is Beth, and I'm joined by my colleague, Catherine Boyle. And we are just looking forward to finding out what's going on with everybody. This is just an opportunity to connect with each other, ask questions, share encouragement, problem solve, whatever the case may be. So, who would like to kick us off with either a report of what's going on or something they want to share? Yes, Barb.
So our big news at Wonderful Works is we launched phase 1 of the Adapted Discipleship Library. So all churches and families in the world can use it. And we're really, really excited about that and hope people will check it out.
That is phenomenal. We are so excited for you. So, Barb, can you tell us what's the best way for us to share that information? How does one access the website?
Yeah, so the Adapted Discipleship Library was made in partnership between Wonderful Works Ministry, which is our organization, and the Church of the Nazarene. So you can actually go to Wonderful Works Ministry, Wonderful. You can go to our website, Wonderful Works we just changed it. I should know this. Okay.
This is your rehearsal for your elevator speech.
Wonderful Works.
Oh no, did she cut out for you? We'll never know. No, we'll come back.
Hopefully I know.
Okay, you're back, I think. Try again.
Okay. Yes. Okay. You can come to our website at wonderfulworks.net or wonderfulworksministry.org. That was it. We just changed it.
Okay.
We just changed it. Wonderfulworksministry.org. And it says Adapted Discipleship Library, and it links you to this library. And it's kind of set up similar to Netflix. In our training videos, we have about 50 of the training videos. You can search for the topic you want. It will bring it up. It will bring up the downloadable training handouts for your team, bring up other videos that are similar. And then it has a similar feature for social narratives. We have about 20 of those for different situations in the church, like baptism, communion, changing classes. You can search for those and print those out. It has our big thing we're excited about in the classroom tools. We have ready to go classroom tools that people can print out, like communication sheets and different forms to work with families. But we also have a customizable classroom tool maker so that people, if they're on the desktop or laptop computer, can actually make their own first then boards and their own visual schedules that are specific to them. So that's really exciting. And we are getting started on launching the adapted children's Bible videos and downloadable discussion questions that are tailor-made for children with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So
this is amazing, Barb. I'm so I'm thrilled, having kind of watched this progress. This is really exciting. And I think Catherine shared the link. We will make sure to post that link with this recording on the Key Ministry website, and on our Vimeo channels and all that, YouTube. This is fantastic. So I encourage everybody to check out these amazing resources. God's doing great things through your ministry, Barb. This is fantastic.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a lot of work and we're going to keep at it. But, this whole mission, this whole disability mission and all the people working in it, I really feel like together we are all starting to make a difference. I can see it and it's really exciting. So appreciate all the support.
Yeah. All right, Julie.
So how blessed are we to know Barb? I'm just saying.
I know, right?
We are so incredibly blessed. This woman has been working so hard for the benefit of so many, and the ripple effect is going to be something we can't even hold in our finite minds, right? So I just wanted to ask a question to you all. And I know that I'm going to be utilizing what Barb just talked about in some training, but here's the opportunity that I have. So now some of you know that I'm part-time on staff with the disability ministry of our church. And I was I had the wonderful blessing of getting, and some of you know this, our adults with disabilities on the host team so that they can greet with the rest of the team on Sunday mornings. So that's, got its ups and downs, like we all know about, when you have to incorporate and you have to kind of help people understand the mindset behind this, and lower certain expectations and raise certain other expectations. Well, one of the things that has happened recently is some questions about how do I interact with this person? Okay. So in terms of the person that has the disability with the people who are also part of the host team. So I offer to do a short training for everyone on the host team or the leaders on the host team or whoever they wanted to be involved in this. And they took me up on the offer. I was shocked. So I'm very excited about that. So here's what I want to ask you. I have no idea how long I get. I told them I could do it as long as they want me. I could do, a 20-minute thing. I could do a 10-minute thing. I could do an hour thing, because what information we could be giving these people. So, but what are your top 3? That's what I want to ask you all. What are your top 3 things to tell the scenario of being on the host team to those people who will be working with our friends with disability in incorporating them in the best way? How do they interact with them? What should they expect? That kind of thing. So what do y'all think?
Susanna.
Hey, I would say, and this is kind of a real general thing, but if they can just make some sort of connection with the individual, just find out what they're interested in, just to have some commonality, and a topic of conversation, talk about their football team or their pet dog, or if they have a job, talk about their job and their family, their niece or nephew, or I think that's a huge thing, just to realize that they're a person like everybody else with likes and dislikes and interests, and sometimes there's that one topic that if you can connect with them on that's huge. So that would be my little piece of input there for that.
That's a good one. Ryan, thank you for sharing, Susanna.
I feel like the instinct that I have is to instill that they should be assuming competence from people and not just assuming that they're there to fill space or to be in the same room, but they're there to actually participate and serve in the role that they're serving in. But then also not to assume that they're catching unspoken stuff. And so helping them to be very clear with directives. And like you guys said, you're probably going to use the social storyboard that maybe the Wonderful Works website can help you make, but just having them be very clear and set the people up for success by telling them what's expected at a given moment, giving them a sequence for things, but assuming that they can do it and not just being content with them standing around.
Yeah, these are great. Okay, so far I'm hearing like find that common connection, presume competence, but also, give the guidelines, give the training, maybe use a social story. These are really excellent. Skeeter. But you have to unmute, and I know you're driving, so do it very carefully, please.
There.
There you go.
I live in South Carolina, and that's near Western North Carolina, and everything you've heard in the news about the devastation is true. Towns have been wiped out up in Western North Carolina. We have had opportunity to serve our friends. I have had opportunity to be served. In fact, I just left my house where there's a great big old crane, not because the house is so big, but the tree was big, trying to get the tree off the house. It has been an amazing opportunity to be blessed and to bless others in Jesus' name. It's hard. I mean, most folks were at least a week without power, and it's just not that much fun to camp anymore at my age.
Yeah.
But on the other end, we had in September, and I think I missed the meeting in September, we had Camp David. It's the 4th annual, And what we have done is taken a young life camp called Carolina Point. The camp was built with us and our friends in mind. Young Life Capernaum is their ministry with high school and middle school friends with disabilities. We had 91 or 2 friends, adults with disabilities. If you add family and buddies, every family got a buddy to just be friends with, and work crew. There were about 360 people that ended up at our weekend camp. It was amazing. We talked about, of course, we talked about Jesus, but the emphasis was on our friends and their families and church. Not all of our friends are welcome at every church. And we had about 8 churches represented. And I would say, I describe it this way: we set up so that those churches could speed date with anybody they wanted to. They'd have information for the families as they'd stop by, and they ranged from Christ Church Episcopal, where you would find my description is smells and bells, high liturgical church, to First Principle AME church, where the singing is loud and rowdy, and worship is on both ends of the spectrum is amazing. We will follow up with that with our friends. David's Table is not church. Some of our friends, when they answer that question, they'll put David's Table in there, and we ask them to stick their hand out and let us slap their patty, because we're not church. But we really want our friends to be a part of worship, a part of service, and that was the emphasis for the weekend. It was amazing. First time we did it on 5 years ago. We did it on Zoom. 4 meetings.
Oh, that's right. I remember hearing about that.
4 meetings and a hoedown on Zoom because of COVID. And we're already lining up stuff for next year. It's the weekend after Labor Day. That would be September 5 through 7 this coming year.
All right. Well, thank you for the update, Skeeter. We will certainly continue to pray for you and your loved ones and everybody in that area. It's kind of mind-boggling. It's a little hard to.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. But thank you for sharing the good news about what David's Table has been up to with Camp David, that you had over 350 people participating. I love the speed dating idea of connecting folks with local churches. So that's really great. And did we lose Skeeter?
No, I'm here.
Oh, there you are. There you are. You
I'm
moved
here.
on my screen.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. So thank you for the update. I'm going to call on Linda next, and then, but if anybody still has ideas to share with the Meekins, feel free to continue to share those, although I think we have some really great suggestions so far already. But Linda.
Yeah, what I would suggest is don't discount the people with the actual disability. It's very important. Like at my old church, a member her brother was an adult with Down syndrome. He became an usher because her husband was an usher. And he served the church along the welcome team with this. And he also went on a mission trip with us to Camp Echoing Hills and helped them tie their shoes. So I hear this stuff, and I'm not trying to be nasty, but it seems like sometimes the people with the disability are passed over by either parents or other people, and they are well-meaning being, but it is important not only to serve the disabled, but to open up serving with them and through them. And I'm not hearing that here. It's a way to make a place of belonging. And you may have young adults, or you may have adults, or you may have parents that understand what is more welcoming for their child. And that's very important. Not, you know, all these people are important professionals and all, but we have to remember, how does this person see this? And invite them. You know, her husband invited Ethan, and he loved being an usher, and he did it until he passed away, and it was beautiful. So,
Yeah, it's important that we all have the opportunity to serve. Thank you. Thank
yeah.
you. Al, bonjour. Are you still in France? Yeah, okay. He's muted. Maybe he can't talk right now. But I know he's got some really cool stuff to update us on if he's able to do so. That was mean of me to call on him. So Andrea.
I would just say with the greeting, the other piece of that is to maybe team that person up with somebody who's kind of willing to mentor. Those first few times that they're doing that has led to a lot of success when we've had our individuals greet. And just to tell a little story, my daughter, we used to do new family check-in together, and going back to what Linda was saying, we would show the new guests and family, to the children's area. And I remember the first time my daughter was a teenager, and she's like, "I've got this myself, Mom." And I was kind of like, "Oh, I don't think that's a good idea," but whatever, I let her do it. And they returned. And when they came back, the next Sunday, they said, "Well, the young lady who led us around did such a great job. And I saw that you were willing to let people with disabilities do that. And I thought that that was important." And really, I was the one getting in the way of letting her do that, but she did a fantastic job. And from there on out, I just let her do it. And I think that that speaks a lot to your church too, and to the people coming, that you see value in people, and to just not be afraid to do that.
I love that. Great. Thank you both, Linda and Andrea, for sharing that perspective. That's really good. Thank you.
I didn't raise my hand. I can't find that on here to raise my hand.
Oh, Antoine, hi. I was like, I could hear a voice, but I couldn't find you. I see you now. Okay.
Sorry. It's very important that we discover the gifts and the talents of each of our individuals. We have a service, and actually our friends participate in everything. They sing, they read scripture, they greet the individuals as they come in the door. So it's very important that we find every gift and every talent of every one of our friends. And some of them just want to come in the midst of our worship service. We have bean bags in the middle of the floor. We have all kind of flags and everything. And our guys find what they're interested in, and that's what they do. So if you got one that loves to talk, put a program in their hand and see what happens. You'd be amazed. You'd be amazed. So yeah, let's find their gifts, let's find their talents, and let God have his way. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing.
So what church do you go to? I would like to come visit.
So I'm in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay.
We have Rhythm of Life Kingdom Inclusion Ministries.
Love
we
it.
meet every fourth Saturdays as of right now at 2:00 in the afternoon. Yeah.
Wow.
So
next time we come to Ohio, we'll have to come.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
Pop in.
Yes.
Thanks for being here today, Antoine.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited. Thank you.
Yeah. Barb, you had your hand.
Yeah, I was just thinking, so your training is for the other people on the connections team, is that correct?
It's I'm thinking that they're going to streamline it to the leader. We have a lot of people involved in the host team. So I think it's going to be the leadership that they've put together. There's different levels of leadership, and I think it's going to be the leaders. Okay,
because I think what I've noticed with a lot of people who are not familiar with disability, when they don't know how to communicate, there's a lot of nervousness. And when people are nervous, then their body language is nervous, and then the whole thing goes south. And so I think what people need to be reminded of is just relax. Everybody is a person. We're all people. Think how you want to be treated, the golden rule. how do you want people to talk to you? You want them to be relaxed and get to know you, and you don't want them like walking on eggshells, afraid to make a mistake. So just remind them, relax, be open. If you make a mistake, you'll learn from it, you can apologize, but it's all about just, we need to just take a deep breath and it's going to be great.
Love it. Love it. Barb, I want to make sure. So Cameron asked a question. Oh boy, we just got a lot of stuff in the chat. Cameron wanted the resource website in the chat box. So
Okay.
Catherine shared wonderfulworksministry.org. Is that the right one to point
Yeah,
people
so you
to?
can go there, or you can go directly to library.adapted. I really go.
If you have time and can plop it into the chat.
Yeah, I will do that.
That we get it. Okay.
Yes, I will.
All right.
Thank you.
So then Joel shared some things in the chat, and I'm just going to read them if that's okay. So these are things that he wrote down that staff can ask to draw them in to help them feel included. What are some of your favorite things to do? How do you like to communicate? Do you enjoy being around people, or do you prefer quieter settings? What brings you joy? Do you have a favorite part of church or church activities? How do you prefer to be greeted? What's one thing you'd like others to know about you? Are there any tasks you really enjoy or would like to try helping with? What kind of support do you find helpful when trying new things? Is there anything that makes you uncomfortable or that you'd like us to be aware of? These are super good, like any icebreaker training, anybody. I am 100% going to be copying these. So I'm going to actually copy these right now. Because these are really good, I think, just for training in general, are really good icebreakers and just ways to begin those conversations. So thank you for sharing that, Joel. Thanks. All right. Feel free. I'm going to paste this into Word while we're waiting because I'm afraid to lose it. Anybody else want to share anything? What's going on? Yes, Andrea. I think that was a hand wave.
Barb, can you explain, there's the login portion of the website. What's that piece for?
Yeah, I can explain that. So on our website, everything is on there for free and anyone can access it. But if you want to download something, so if you want to download one of our videos so you can put it into your training without the YouTube ads, or you want to download the handouts, then you need to log in and just become a free member. And the reason we're doing that is because all of this is funded by a grant, and we have to come back with data with our grant to say how many people are using it. So by getting that helps us give the answers back to the grant. So that's really all that is for. And once you do your first sign in the first time, then you just have to sign in each time you want to download something. You don't have to keep doing the whole thing every time.
Thank you. Thanks again for making this accessible to everybody.
Thank you.
All right, Linda.
Okay, so my ministry is now fully independent from SALT, and this allows me to do more locally, regionally, and globally. And an initiative we're going to start with Abnormal Missionary is conversation and prayer time on Zoom, where parents can come and ask questions, and then also have prayer, because I want my ministry to be focused on prayer. Prayer is very important in our life. It's very important for families with impacted from disabilities and people with disabilities. Other thing is I've started to create biblical mental health journals, but I found out from other people, these are good with kids with autism. So I am working on that. They're also going to be used with a ministry in Amsterdam that rescues women out of the red light district. They're very hurting. They'll be translated in Romanian primarily. And that's hopefully in the spring I will visit with these women. My friend runs the ministry. But I'm excited because I'll be able to do more because I'm not under the mission of what SALT movement was doing, which limited me in a way. But now I'm excited about this new prospect, and I'm also transitioning to more full-time ministry and less time doing work per se. So I'm working on trying to get more monthly support. I just asked for prayer for that. But yeah, my ministry is primarily culture's prayer, Great Commission, and Great Commandment. So
Thank you. And people can find you at abnormalmissionary.org.
yeah, .org.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
there's
Thank you.
all kinds of blogs people can share and stuff like that. And even what I talked about at the mental health conference is there too. I got to figure out how to put the PDF up there that I created, but I did have a lot of people respond that they had either patients or church members that this information would be good for to help create that, help them be more stable, because I do believe the church community is vital in that. So
Thank you. And thanks for being part of the Mental Health in the Church conference.
thank you. It was
Uh,
very nice.
yeah. And I love that Catherine read my mind and put the website in there. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, here is a question. Hi all, is there anyone here who operates a day program for adults with disabilities Monday through Friday? Just curious as we were about to launch one, God willing. And yes, hi. Okay, Antoine says he runs and operates Rhythm of Life Adult. Oh, I didn't realize that was a day program as well. Very cool. Okay. And I'm happy to put the two of you in touch with each other, or the three of you, I guess, in touch with each other if you'd like. Just let me know if that's something you'd like me to do. Catherine has shared in the chat a link to the main stage presentation that Linda did at the Mental Health in the Church conference. So you can check that out.
It's actually the whole playlist.
Oh, the whole playlist. Sorry, I could have heard that
but,
better. Okay, yes.
Linda's video is included in that.
Great, thank you. And Joel is asking how we can support Linda.
When you go to my site, there is a give button that's prominent on the first part of the page. So that's greatly appreciated. But thank you.
Yeah, and I encourage you to sign up for Linda's newsletter. First of all, she's an amazing photographer, but she does so much international mission work, a lot of international travel. So it's always very interesting to try to keep track of her. She's a very busy person.
Yeah, I partner with Wings of Faith, which was is a nonprofit in Ukraine that served families with autistic children. They had the first preschool, OT-PT studio, they called it. I'm not sure if that's what they call it in America, because back then it was like usually related to a hospital for me. So I was born in 1970. So, but it is right before the war. The director of that, Zoriana, was working with the mayor of Rivne to have the first city to have public early intervention. But unfortunately, the war happened. Now she's in Germany doing fabulous stuff with a variety of different disabilities. But I love working with her. And I just see that there is a burden in Europe that a lot of these churches, they have great services and therapies in Germany and like Poland. Very few churches offer community. And that's one thing I'm trying to spearhead over there through my example and connections with people. Germany is very difficult in the sense that they're kind of closed. They don't ask for help. They don't babysitting either. So it's like it's like a long process. But I do have a good connection with a German family that has a church that's outside the box. So and I met with them and it was very good. And it's just continuing working with that relationship. And I just enjoy going over there and serve the families and while I'm driving to places, I take photos of different things that people may not ever see if they go to Germany, because they're going to Bavaria. and the Oktoberfest. I've never been to the Oktoberfest, and I will not go because it's way too many people for me. Way too many people. So, but thank you.
Can I say something here? So, Jolie, you asked how else to support Linda. This is how I support Linda right now, and Key Ministry supports her. Sign up for her newsletter. And what Linda, I don't know if you know this specifically, but whenever you send out a newsletter, then we pray for all the things that you list in our Key Ministry prayer team meetings.
Oh, thank you. When my ministry went independent and I started reading about George Mueller and what he did, which was incredible that he supported 10,000 orphans by just asking God to provide. And I just was like, how can I have my ministry include prayer culture? Because I know it's so important for me. I didn't have a good prayer life, to be honest, because I can't sit still. So I would talk to God driving my car or in the bathtub, in weird places that normally that's not how you talk to God with some Christians, but I can't sit still and it was hard. And then God kind of knocked me over the head this summer and with George Mueller's book, and I was doing a Bible study about Job. And I just realized I want my ministry to incorporate that to help parents with disabilities, because you get so busy, you're exhausted at the end of the day. And how do we help these parents still have this connection to God? And I found it to be very impactful for me. My next blog is about bitterness and suffering, because I ended up in the hospital because I allowed my anger to fester into bitterness towards God and ended up in the hospital for a couple weeks. So, but going through this, I've had a lot of struggles and trials. I haven't been bitter about it. I haven't got bitter to God. I haven't, I've been angry and frustrated, but so thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Linda. Thank you.
Linda, will you happen to be at the Partnership Summit in Berlin in mid-November? Do you know about that, or?
In Berlin, Germany?
Yes.
I haven't heard about that.
Okay.
I do go to Europe. I would love information about this because
Okay.
as someone with bipolar and Asperger's, I know clinicians are important, but like a Christian who has suffered and has been in the mission field short term, like 40 plus times a year, I'm the last person you would think would go do some of this stuff. And God has just blessed me. So I would be interested in knowing what that is, because I am trying to figure out how to open these doors to these churches. So
Great. Yeah, well, great. So I'll send you some more information about it. Our church is going and working at it, and I opted not to go this year, but maybe next time I would go if there's specifically a disability piece of that, and maybe we can partner up and make that happen. That sounds great.
that would be pretty good. I go a lot to Europe on my own. Past couple trips, I've actually had my sister nieces with me, which has been great to serve with your family. And my one niece was adopted from Ukraine, and she went back and served disabled Ukrainian orphans in Germany. So it was like a awesome story. She was adopted at like age 8, and now she's going back to serve. And then we did a respite care thing, and she went back with us too. So it was really fun. But yeah, I usually am by myself. It's kind of nice because I could just I'll just go to McDonald's because McDonald's is different over there. French fries are hot. I'm like, what? And they have an ice cream machine that works. I'm like, why do the Germans have an ice cream machine that works? But I would be very interested in partnering with you with that kind of thing, because I'm third generation German, and my heart is there. I think they all have Asperger's, actually, because there's actually a town of Asperg, which if I moved to Germany, I would live there. Because
I know you showed me the picture when you were here. You showed me the picture of the street sign. I love it.
yeah, I was with my friend and we're sitting at a street light, and I read German very well, and I'm like, Asperger Festival. I'm like, where are we? And she's like, we're in the town of Asperg. And I'm like, what? Really? So if you go to my Facebook page, it is the photo, and my handle on Instagram for my personal page is Ishbin Asperger, because that means I have Asperger. From Asperger. But yeah, I think they all have Asperger, actually. A little bossy over there. But
So these connections that are being made, feel free, to private message each other in the chat. But if you need to get connected to somebody on here, you can always email me at Beth, BETH, at keyministry.org, and I can hunt down the other person and make the connection for you. So Joel.
This is for Linda. You should do a photo story on that orphanage and the adoption and put that into a book. I think that'd be awesome with your niece in Ukraine.
I am working on a book that's photo oriented. I'm also a fine artist. I have an MFA in photography. I mainly got an MFA because the neuropsychologist that told my parents to institutionalize me said I would never learn. So I kind of just did it. See, look, I got the MFA. I graduated from high school, but I'm working on an art project. There's a little known story during the Holocaust that 800, especially autistic kids, were murdered in Vienna in a hospital. And their remains were not interned properly until 2002, quietly. And anytime I'm in Vienna, I visit their gravesite, because I think it's important to remember them. Because in any kind of situation like this, the disabled are the first to go, and they're the last to be remembered. And I have all their names, and I'm trying to figure out how to make a piece about this so that other people can know about this. And then, like with all this euthanasia that's going on in Canada, it's very disturbing what's going on. And my heart is to eventually create an art piece, but I have shown work all over the US and in Europe too. So
I'm just saying, I know enough about each of you, Joel and Linda, that the two of you need to talk about projects. I'm just saying. I would love, yeah. So, yeah. Allison.
yeah, thank you.
Finally unmuted. I love hearing stories from Europe, Linda. They're always heartwarming and encouraging, but also painful stories. I love it. I've actually got a quick question for you all, but I also have to give a shout out to Tom and Julie, who were zooming with a colleague of mine and really helpful. So thank you. So my quick question is, I discovered one of my colleagues is going back to Mexico in the next couple of weeks, and he has a grandson who is nonverbal, autistic, is about 6 years old. They live about an hour and 20 minutes outside of Mexico City, and any PT and OT is in Mexico City, so it's expensive, it's time consuming. So he's not getting much option of resources. And my friend that's going back, the grandfather, would love to build like a mini sensory room. He's very practical and hands-on, and I said, let me ask this wonderful wealth of knowledge what kind of things he could build. And I asked if the child has access to an iPad, and he does, so he could access online resources as well. So my two questions were, any good online resources in Spanish that people know of? And also, I've got some ideas of what things I can tell Jorge to build, but what would you build if you had a budget and you're in Mexico and you want to build this, sort of create this space for this child? I don't know anything about the child apart from non-verbal autistic. And then the third thing I was going to do was I was going to ask the parents of my ministry to write little encouraging notes of encouragement, and then I'll get them translated into Spanish, but to give physically for the mom to have, and some Bible verses just to say, hey, we don't know you, we're far away, but we can be encouraging you. But so yeah, practical resources and Spanish speaking resources would be great. Thanks.
So the Spanish speaking resources, Ryan F., I don't know if you're still there. I know your camera's off, but I'm wondering if the presentation we got to hear at the Shine On Contributor Connect if that would be
Worth asking if
yeah,
they're willing to do that. I would just
yeah,
probably email Krista and see if
yeah. There's an organization called Tebow Down Guatemala. And so they are in Guatemala. But they are, I think, visiting other like Spanish speaking countries in the region. So we just got introduced to them, Ryan and I did, but I don't know. I'm throwing that out as maybe they have something, so I could put you in touch. So, I'm looking in the Andrew, if this is in response. So Andrew says we host a resource fair and partner with with organizations that does chalk art in the parking lot. We also have bounce houses, crafts, bubbles, unicorn, family photos, and more. bravesoulsphoto.org/blank page. It is very successful at reaching the community and would be great replicated in other church communities. Very cool.
Yep, I just put that out there in case people are looking for ways to do something different at their church. That's worked really well for us, and it's just kind of sort of non-invasive of having people come to your church, giving them resources in the community. We have a variety of resources tables that come, employment, college, yeah, church-based things, just a lot of different things. And then the super fun event of multiple chalk arts out on the parking lot that anyone can be a part of, wheelchairs and ambulatory people and all sorts of things. And it's just just a super, super fun day and brings in a lot of people from the community and has been great. So
Love that as an outreach idea. Very cool. Allison, I thought of another, I don't know if this would be helpful, and I don't know if these things are available in Mexico, but if you go to keyministry.org/podcast, I did an episode in the last month or 2 or 3, and there are a few of like my favorite things in there. There's a particular crash pad that I've purchased for our sensory room, liquid tiles, just some other ideas for you in there. And with all the Key Ministry podcasts, we also transcribe them all, and so you can read them in our blog, or you can listen to the podcast episode, whatever you prefer. And Catherine, thank you, just shared the link for that particular episode in the chat. All right, and yes, hands up.
Yeah, so oh, my bad. Sorry. I don't
Do we
know.
have 2 hands up?
I can put mine back down. Okay, so I wanted to just, mention to Allison 2 things. One, we have a box in one of our sensory break rooms, actually 2 of them. And it's like a cube. It's made out of wood and it's carpeted on the inside. It's like 3 by 3 by 3, and it's a cube with one side open. If I was in the sensory room, I'd show it to you. But it is kind of something you could literally build. You wouldn't have to, have access to, finding a store that might have it, finding it online, something like that. But it's like we call it our sensory cave. So it's kind of makes a quieter, darker little spot for our friends to go to. We find that they use it quite a bit. And then I don't know if this would be helpful or not, but we have 2 Spanish-speaking congregations. We're a multi-site church, and we translate all of our kids' ministry curriculum into Spanish. I don't know, I wondered if any of that might be helpful at all. We don't, so we have lessons that our ministry specifically uses. Those aren't translated. Those that are adapted lessons, but our kids' lessons are translated, and I think we share them with other people from time to time. We use a certain specific curriculum, but yeah, we have some resources that are translated. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I can put my email in the chat if Allison wants to take it down or whatever, and we can chat about it offline.
Thank you. Yeah, so hopefully you two will connect. Sorry, we got Al unmuted.
Can you hear me now?
I
Can you
was
hear?
distracted there. Al, take it away.
Oh, can you hear me? I just want
Yeah,
to make sure.
yes,
Okay,
now
I'm sorry. I'm in a bar in Paris to get the Wi-Fi, so it's a little loud behind me. So sorry. Yeah, we did our disability weekend, second one in Bretagne, which is Western France. We had a same team except one person, and we added two people. Another American came from Minnesota to help, and it was really good this year. It was a lot better, a lot more organized, and we're already talking about next year. We already have approval from the camp to do it again. So, and we're also looking at maybe doing it longer. It's just one night, but maybe more of a Johnny and Friends style, 5 days, 4 nights. But yeah, again, it's not huge. I mean, France, things don't usually start out big, but it was very positive, this experience. And there's some momentum that's happening, it seems like, within some different churches here. And even McLean Bible Church, which is hosting the Key Ministry thing next year. They have people in Normandy that are interested in disability ministry. I wasn't able to meet with them, but I hope to connect with them soon. And there's a project also in the Christian Missionary Alliance is doing something. They have a project going in Bordeaux. So there's some things happening in France. I brought the last 4 copies of Stephanie Hubach's translated book with me, gave them out here. So I asked my colleagues if they like it. If they do, then Stephanie's colleagues said they can print more. So there's just, but I want to make sure they like it first before to make sure it fits in the culture. But so yeah, there's some good momentum happening in France, and yeah, it's good. Thank you.
Yeah, so is that same lake, different boat? Is
Yes.
it that one? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's a weird title in French. I mean, it's kind of has nothing to do with the boat and all that. So one of my colleagues didn't like the title in French. She thought they should have done more with the boat idea, stuff like that. So, you know, it's cultural stuff in translation.
We just never know what you're going to learn in the idea share. Wait, I want to go back to Amanda really fast. The box idea, because that is something that somebody could build if Allison, if your friend has skills. So it's like a portable box. I mean, 3 by 3, but like it's movable, or do you have it like secured to something?
It's heavy. You could move it though. I mean, we have moved it. But it's pretty heavy. You use some pretty solid wood to make it. One of our children's pastor, her father made it for us. Specified kind of where I wanted it, and he made it. We have one at one of our campuses that fits into a corner that's super cool. And I put a bubble tube through it. He like drilled this hole. So you can make it pretty fancy and pretty neat, but it's really just a box made out of wood that you carpet on the inside, and the outside is painted. It's sanded down so that, you know, nobody's getting a splinter. But yeah, it's you have to be able to square a board, but I don't think it would be incredibly labor intensive, relatively cheap, although wood, everything's expensive.
But I think
yeah,
that's exactly the kind of thing he would build. And that was the sort of, I had something like
yeah,
that, in mind, but wasn't sure whether wood or like a tent or
yeah,
something.
we
But
use
that'd be
wood
great.
just because he's a woodworker, is a carpenter, and yeah, and we don't really like. It's heavy enough that the kids can't pick it up and like move it. It would take 2 adults to move it. My husband and I have moved it together. But it's pretty sturdy. It's pretty solid. I'd be happy, Allison, to take a picture and send it to you if you want to like send me an email, and then he can kind of get a general idea. And then we just put some cheap carpet on the inside, and it makes it quieter. It's darker in there. When they need a break. I had a little girl yesterday that used it for like almost the entire time, and she brought her toys in there. She had just gotten home from a family vacation, and she was not interested in the chaos of the sensory room, and she played with her kitchen toys in there the entire time and was happy, and Dad got to go to church, and so it was a good thing. But yeah, we use it every Sunday, multiple times.
I love it. And Barb is putting in the chat that their church used to have that, and that the kids loved it. So Catherine.
Some of you know Jillian Palmiato, who is part of this group sometimes. We got to go to her church and to another church near where she is that have phenomenal wings in their church that are, you know, devoted to disability support of every kind. And they had a lot of things that, I mean, I'm sure they were quite expensive if they were purchased, but I would think an awful lot of those things could be made at home too. So, you know, she might be a good resource to reach out to for some other ideas as well.
Yeah, and some of the things, Catherine, that I'm remembering, even just in their lobby area, they had kind of like what Amanda's talking about, except it was built into the wall.
Yep.
So like little cubbies that a person can go in and, you know, you're still visible, you're still there, but it's like a little sensory nook kind of thing. So yes. Anybody? Joel.
So I'm working on a caregiver book, and part of it is for neurodiversity, which includes a number of conditions. And I had just written up something with regards to a sensory room, like a list of just how to do that. So I was just formatting it. I asked AI to translate that in Spanish, and I sent it to Beth. So if anybody wants that, you can get.
I'll pass that along.
I don't know if it's actually works in Spanish, but I just said, well, we'll try.
Worth
So.
a shot. I love it. Thank you for being so creative. All right, we're approaching the top of the hour. Any last minute things that anybody wants to share? This was a great discussion today. I think we hit all the things. So I just want to make sure that everybody has signed up to get the updates about Disability in the Church 2025. So we have announced the date and location. So it's April 29th, 30th, and May 1st at McLean Bible Church in Washington, D.C. And we're very excited about it. There's going to be all kinds of information coming soon, including call for speakers and so much more. But if you go to keyministry.org, you can sign up to make sure you're getting the updates. There's a button right on our homepage. And so we've already started sending out to that list. And like I said, a lot more information coming very, very soon. So, all right. Thank you all, everybody, for the work you're doing, for being part of this conversation. In the next couple days on our website on the events page, we will have the topic for our October Disability Ministry Video Roundtable. That's the third Wednesday of the month. And yes, Andrea, the specific church is, so it's McLean Bible Church, and it's actually it's on Leesburg Pike in McLean. It's in Tyson's Corner, I think. Linda, is that right? Is it in Tyson's Corner? It's like that. It's that area, the Tyson's area.
It's above Tyson's Corner on Leesburg Pike, but before Wolf Trap.
Yeah. So it's like Washington, D.C., but it's actually in the burbs.
The craziness of Northern Virginia.
Yes.
They think they're in Washington, D.C.
Yeah. But
Marylanders don't do that. I don't know why.
So anyway, so we have, so big things coming up. So again, thank you for being here, and we will see you all soon. Bye.